Monday morning doesn't start with panic. It starts with a kind of quiet funeral. The alarm goes off, the screen lights your face, and for a few seconds you lie there staring at the ceiling, feeling something heavy sitting on your chest. Every cell in your body is softly saying no, but your hands still reach for the phone. Your feet still hit the floor. Shower, clothes, transport, login screen. Your body moves through the sequence like it has memorized a dance your soul wants no part of. On paper, nothing is truly wrong. The salary is decent, the coworkers are fine, the office or laptop is manageable. You tell yourself people have it much worse, that you should be grateful. You repeat this like a prayer while noticing quietly that something essential is slipping out of you week after week. It isn't dramatic, it's just a slow leak of color. The strangest part is how split you feel. At work, you are polite, agreeable, efficient, always smoothing your edges so you fit. Emails in the right tone, meetings with the right expressions, thoughts trimmed to whatever is safe. Then, outside of work, alone late at night, another version of you appears, sharper, darker, more honest, secretly hungry for something that feels real. The distance between these two selves grows, and the professional one starts to look like a mask you wear to earn permission to exist. Nietzsche would not have called this a bit of burnout. He saw most people living as herd animals, domesticated into safe, repeatable routines. From his view, your problem is not simply stress, it is a kind of spiritual slavery. Your life energy is being rented out to purposes you don't believe in, traded for a sense of safety and a direct deposit. The cost is that the part of you that wants to live intensely has to sit in the corner and watch. So maybe you are not lazy, ungrateful, or broken for feeling this dread. Maybe you are accurately sensing that your work life is designed to keep you small, obedient, and numb enough to repeat the week without burning the building down. It is your spirit quietly refusing to go. The deadness you feel every Monday might be a message, not a malfunction. The real question becomes uncomfortable. Why does doing everything right still feel so wrong? And if the job is a kind of cage, is there any way to move through this system without becoming its loyal animal? Those are the threads we'll start pulling on next, treating your numbness not as a shameful secret, but as the first honest clue about what your life is really asking for. There is a reason your job can feel strangely similar, whether you sit in a glass office, behind a counter, or at your kitchen table with a laptop. The scenery changes, but the structure doesn't. There is a fixed schedule to shape your days, a set of targets to measure your worth, and rewards for doing what you're told without too much resistance. It looks civilized, even comfortable, yet it quietly trains you in the same way a factory trains a conveyor belt. Steady, predictable, replaceable. You are not really hired as a whole person. You're hired as a role with a human attached. Developer, associate, support, manager, a label that turns you into a function. The parts of you that don't fit, your doubts, your wild ideas, your deeper questions about why any of this even matters, are politely filed under personal and left outside the building or muted before each call. To make this easier to swallow, companies wrap the cage in soft language. They talk about being a family, about caring deeply and changing the world. There are team-building events, branded hoodies, Slack emojis, posters about wellness. But when real decisions arrive, the pattern is clear. Profit first, risk management second, optics third. Your actual growth, sanity, or sense of meaning comes somewhere after a line break, if at all. Nietzsche would look at this and see a modern form of domestication. He wrote about how societies turn wild, dangerous individuals into tame herd animals, safe, predictable, easy to manage. Modern work does this with salaries instead of whips. It rewards the ones who never rock the boat, who don't ask why, who swallow absurd decisions and repeat the script with a smile. Over time, the sharp edges of a person get sanded down into corporate friendliness. His figure of the last man fits here almost too well. This is the person whose highest aim is comfort, security, and small pleasures, a stable income, a weekend without emails, streaming shows at night to numb the leftover dread. He avoids real risk and intensity because they might disturb his fragile balance. The price of this safe little life is that nothing truly great is asked of him or allowed. This is why you can feel dead in a job that looks perfectly fine on the outside. The role doesn't ask for your full strength, only your obedience. You're invited to bring your whole self to work, as long as that self never threatens the system that feeds you. The gap between who you sense you could become and what you're actually allowed to be grows wider each quarter until you start to feel like an exile inside your own days. That numbness is not just boredom, it is a quiet, inner rebellion. Some deeper part of you resists being domesticated into a polite, productive animal. It shows up as quiet anger, daydreams, or a strange urge to disappear. Nietzsche would call that force the will to power, the drive in you that wants to grow, to test itself, to shape life instead of just enduring it. When that will is trapped under fluorescent lights and key performance indicators, it doesn't disappear. It turns inward, presses against the walls, and waits for a chance to break the script, which is where we go next. There is a part of you that refuses to believe you were born just to be a human resource. It's the part that fantasizes about quitting mid-email, about deleting every app, moving somewhere no one knows you, or building something that has your name on it instead of a company logo. You still show up, you still hit deadlines, but inside there's an eye roll that never stops, a quiet voice saying, "This whole thing is ridiculous." Nietzsche had a name for that restless energy, the will to power. In simple terms, it's the deep drive in living things to expand, to grow, to push against limits and shape their world. It isn't just the urge to dominate others. At its core, it's the urge to become more fully yourself, to turn potential into reality. When this force can move, you feel strangely alive, even when life is hard. But what happens when this will is trapped? When your days are built from following orders, sitting through pointless meetings, and producing work you don't really believe in, that inner drive has nowhere clean to go. It doesn't vanish, it reroutes. Often it turns inward as self-criticism, depression, and numbness. You start to use your intelligence against yourself, attacking your own desires instead of the cage around them. Sometimes it leaks out sideways. You find yourself procrastinating, doing just enough to get by, dragging tasks out longer than they need to be. You become sarcastic, cynical, quietly sabotaging things you're supposed to care about. You scroll endlessly, argue online, fantasize about disasters that would blow everything up so you wouldn't have to be the one to choose. It's your will to power, reduced to smoke. That dead inside feeling isn't proof that nothing is there. It's the opposite. You feel empty because what's inside is locked behind a role that doesn't need it. The system doesn't want your full power. It wants you efficient, predictable, low risk. Your hunger, your ambition, your strange ideas, they don't fit well inside status reports. So they wait, pacing in circles, wearing grooves in your mind. Inside, a quiet war never stops. One voice says, "You need this job. Be grateful. Don't be dramatic. Everyone hates Mondays." The other says, "This is not what you were born for." You are trading your life away in tiny pieces. You bounce between them, day after day, trying to mute whichever one hurts the most. That conflict, more than the tasks themselves, is what erodes your spirit. Nietzsche would be more worried about the person who feels perfectly satisfied in a life of mindless routine. If you are restless, angry, or quietly despairing, it means some part of you hasn't surrendered. The animal in you is still pawing at the gate. Your dissatisfaction is not an insult to your life. It is evidence that your will to power is still alive, refusing to shrink itself to fit a spreadsheet. Which raises a harder question. If something in you is fighting this much, why don't you just walk away? The answer is rarely simple. Money, fear, obligation, and identity tie you to the desk like invisible chains. In the next step, we'll look at those shackles more closely. The economic and psychological hooks that keep modern slaves willingly fastening their own collar every morning. There are chains you can point to and chains you can't. The easy ones to name are made of numbers: rent, bills, debt. The people who depend on you, you picture, even for a second, walking away from your job, and a cold fear slides into your stomach. Where would the money come from? How long before everything collapses? That terror alone is enough to keep you opening the laptop, no matter how loudly your insides keep saying no. Then there is the chain of respectability. Whatever you feel about your work, your job title keeps you legible to the world. It reassures parents, satisfies relatives, makes small talk easier. Oh, you're an engineer, a manager, a designer. The idea of losing that label feels like disappearing. You may hate the role, but you cling to the status shield it gives you, just so no one can call you a loser to your face or quietly pity you behind your back. Comfort forms another, softer chain. You deaden the weekday dread with little doses of pleasure. Takeout after a long day, streaming shows until midnight, scrolling, gaming, weekend trips, online shopping, short videos. None of it truly fills you, but it smooths the edges just enough. The cage becomes padded. You are miserable, but not quite miserable enough to revolt. Nietzsche would say, this is exactly how the herd keeps itself calm, half awake, too sleepy to question the field. For him, the darkest truth was that most people choose this. They would rather be safe, obedient animals than free beings who risk falling, starving, or failing. Modern slavery doesn't need a whip. It just needs your cooperation, your signature. You clock in on time, laugh at the right jokes, update the right spreadsheets, because the alternative feels like falling into an endless hole with no guarantee of landing anywhere better. Over time, you even internalize the boss. Even when no one is watching, you scold yourself for slowing down. You feel guilty for daydreaming about another life, about work that actually feels like yours. You call your own desires unrealistic, childish, selfish. You rehearse what people would say if you tried. Be realistic. Everyone hates their job. You don't just obey rules imposed from outside. You start generating them yourself, punishing any part of you that wants more than this. Nietzsche would not gently reassure you here. He would ask, with cruelty and care at the same time, what are you trading your life for? Is the security you're buying worth the slow, gray death you feel every Monday? Are you willing to spend decades this way so that other people can say you were stable, sensible, normal, a good employee who never made anyone uncomfortable? This isn't an invitation to burn everything down tomorrow and disappear into the wilderness. It's an invitation to see the contract clearly. Maybe you must stay for now. Maybe you really can't risk much yet. But you don't have to keep signing away your inner freedom. You don't have to believe every fearful thought that keeps you tame and obedient. The first shift happens long before you quit, when you stop seeing yourself as livestock and start treating yourself as someone quietly preparing to step outside the fence, one deliberate move at a time. First, you stop bowing to the job as if it were a god. It is not your identity, your worth, or your destiny. It is a deal. You give time and energy. In return, you get money, maybe experience, maybe connections. That's all. When you see it this way, praise from managers and titles on LinkedIn lose some of their spell. You don't need to love the cage to walk through it. Then you start treating the place less like a prison and more like a training ground. Even the most numbing role can sharpen something in you. You can build discipline, focus, resilience. You can learn how systems really work, how people hide, obey, or manipulate. Nietzsche would tell you, use any environment as a gym for your will, not a grave for it. Don't just endure the day. Watch it, study it, extract something from it. Outside those hours, you quietly build a second life, not in fantasy, but in small, repeated actions. You learn skills that could one day free you. You tinker with creative or entrepreneurial projects, even if they begin tiny. You train your body so that your strength is not only mental. You read things that thicken your spine. This doesn't change everything overnight, but it shifts the balance. Slowly, your dependence on the job stops feeling absolute. You can also begin choosing tiny acts of rebellion, not dramatic quitting speeches, just calm refusals. You say no to pointless overwork when it adds nothing but exhaustion. You stop volunteering for every extra favor. You opt out of fake culture games that demand emotional performance. You protect your evenings or weekends as territory that belongs to you, not to the company's endless hunger. Underneath all of this, you start rewriting your idea of success. Maybe it's not a promotion up the same ladder that has been draining you. Maybe success looks like more control over your time, more alignment between what you value and what you actually do, less distance between the version of you at work and the one who appears late at night. You measure yourself less by external applause and more by your own growing respect for yourself. You will still have days when Monday feels like a quiet death. The difference is that you are no longer lying perfectly still. Some part of you is digging, training, planning, gathering strength. You are learning to live in a world built on modern slavery without fully joining the ranks of the willingly tamed. And if you keep going, there comes a point where the question is no longer, can I escape? But what kind of life am I walking toward once I step outside the gate? That question is the Nietzschean task. Not fleeing what you hate, but shaping something you can affirm, a way of living where effort feels chosen, struggle feels meaningful, and your work answers to you first. That vision grows quietly while everyone assumes you're simply tired every day. You still sit at the same desk, type on the same keyboard, stare at the screen. You still log in on Monday, still answer emails, still nod through meetings that feel like a copy. On the outside, nothing about your life looks rebellious. But inside, the posture has changed. You are no longer begging this job to give your existence meaning. You know what the arrangement really is now, and that clarity is a real, quiet freedom. You stop narrating yourself as a trapped worker and start seeing yourself as someone using this system while you build something beyond it. That shift is subtle, but it changes the flavor of your days. Nietzsche would respect the person who doesn't use limitation as an excuse, but as fuel. The job becomes one environment among many, not the horizon of your identity. You begin to feel flickers of life again, not because the work suddenly became noble, but because you are no longer entirely owned by it. You feel a private pride in the hours you reclaim after work, in the projects or training no one else sees yet. You feel a small satisfaction when you say no to unnecessary demands, when you protect your time without apology. There's a deeper calm in knowing that, slowly, you are turning the wheel of your own fate by a few degrees. Some people won't really notice. Co-workers may keep worshiping promotions and titles. Family might still talk about your job as if it is the main story of your life. Let them. Your rebellion is inward. Your sense of direction doesn't need to be announced. Nietzsche's verdict remains harsh. Much of modern work really is a mild form of slavery, of your time, your attention, your potential. But slavery becomes complete only when you agree with it in your heart, when you stop resisting and call your own numbness normal. You haven't done that. You listened to the dead inside feeling and let it change how you move. Tomorrow morning, the question softly becomes, if you can't change the whole system today, what is one small way you can refuse to be dead inside it? One tiny act of strength, one decision that belongs to you. The larger work, creating your own values, turning suffering into fuel, learning to love the path you choose, can unfold on another night if you decide not to go back to sleep.